Welcome back to GenuinelyLAS and welcome to what could be a game changer in the EV hybrid market, the Nissan Qashqai E-Power. Now picture this, electric car style drivability, one pedal driving, an electric motor driving the front wheels and battery regeneration with no charging needed whatsoever. No range anxiety, none of that. Now it sounds a bit like witchcraft, but that is what E-Power in the Nissan Qashqai gives you. Now I can hear what you're thinking. Lukey Potato Head, we've had the Prius for nearly 20 years. This is a hybrid, that's a hybrid, they're the same thing. But no, this is actually a very interesting system and I'll explain it to you. So just like a normal hybrid car, the Nissan Qashqai has a 55-litre petrol tank. So you fill up with petrol just like any other car. The only difference is the petrol engine never drives the front wheels at all. This is a front wheel drive car, it never drives the front wheels because the petrol is only used to create energy that either tops up the 2.1 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery, which, fun fact, is twice the size of a normal hybrid, or it sends energy to the front wheels. That means that you're always getting electric motor driven power. You get instant torque. It feels like you're driving an electric car, which I think is perfect. It's a perfect middle ground between a hybrid and a full EV. And one of my favorite parts about this is it is all in the body of a Nissan Qashqai. And Nissan Qashqais are continuously, have been for years, in the top 10 best-selling cars in the UK, which its appreciation won't be as rough as a newfound electric car. I really think they might have hit a nail on the head here, because for people who might get range anxiety or just don't want to pay 50, 60,000 pounds for a electric car with a good range that they find quite stylish, this could be the answer. And it's in a great colour as well. This is a facelifted Nissan Qashqai, and to some of you, apart from the front grille, you could look at it and say, it's the same thing as what we just had. There's nothing's really changed. But I disagreed, and I actually think this car embodies Kaizen, which is a Japanese phrase, a continuous improvement, no matter how small the detail. Because yes, other than the much larger grille, which in honesty, but when I saw it in photos, I was quite scared to see it in person, but it does work really well. And I think it's aided as well by this being the Techno Plus, the top spec model, because you get the larger rims, it all works very well. It matches the two-tone black paint as well. But other than that, there isn't a huge amount that's actually changed beyond recognition. Everything's just smarter, sharper, the creases are deeper. It just looks a bit more aggressive and sporty than it was before. And this car's no slouch. The E-Power model will go from 0 to 60 in 7.9 seconds and has 190 horsepower. So it does kind of fit the bill, but from the front, I do really like it. Nissan Juke style headlights, which are separated from the main running lights. You've got real vents here to funnel air around the sides of the car. It's a smart looking car. I love to see it in black to see how good that looks, but I really like the contrast between the red paint, which looks fantastic by the way, the metallic red paint, stunning. You've got to see it in person. But I love the contrast of the red paint to the black grille. So top marks for me here. Now taking a look on the side of the Qashqai, I love this. I really like this. It looks so much more aggressive than the early Qashqais. It shows you how far they've come in terms of their design. I love the two-tone that you get on the Techno models. You get 20-inch rims as standard as well on the Techno models, which are wrapped in Michelin Primacy 4 rubber on the E-Power models, which not only help with comfort, but can also improve EV efficiency up to 20%. And this is not a full-on EV, but it's as close as you can get to an EV without having an EV, in a way. So that looks great. I love the side of the headlights here, very similar to the Nissan Juke. You might be able to see here, you've got cameras on the wing mirrors for the 360-degree cameras. You've got E-Power badging here. I really like the black trim. You've also got a glass roof. I'll show you more when we get inside. Keyless entry, very nice, but very standard at this price point and in the year 2024. Rear reflectors there. Obviously you've got the petrol tank there. Nice side-on spoiler. It's a nice profile. And I really like the colour as well. But what do you think? Would you get this? Would you get this in Qashqai in a similar bright colour? Or would you go for a black or a grey or a white, which is also so acceptable, very company car spec? So coming around the back, what do we think of the looks? Because personally, I'm a fan. I mean, I was a fan of the pre-facelift Qashqai rear end, and if you weren't a fan of that, you probably won't be a fan of this, because, I mean, not a huge amount really has changed, more refinement. You'll see the lights along here and the lights down the sides. The reflectors are a little bit slimmer, a little bit sharper than before. The headlights are tinted, which I think is actually quite a nice touch, adds a nice contrast to the red paint we've got going on here. Also the two-tone paint. Now this is only on the top line Techno models you can option the two-tone paint, otherwise this would be a body colour. But I like the rear bumpers. I think they've done a really nice redesign. You've very clearly got the E-Power badge on the back here, which is the reason why we're here today. We've also got a few safety features. We've got the rear view camera, the parking sensors, and of course, the automatic tailgate, which opens up to a 504 litre boot, which with the seats down, will go to 1,447 litres, which should make it competitive within its class for sure. And I also quite like the lining we've got here. We've got a nice Qashqai boot liner, especially in this colour. I know I've said it before, but this car just works for me. It's all sharper. You've got a nice chunky spoiler at the back as well. Beautiful stuff. Now, before we go for a drive, this car obviously wouldn't have been possible without Nissan engineers, but this video wouldn't have been possible without the help of Nissan Fish Brothers in Swindon. So massive thank you to them, especially Simon, for talking me around the car, showing me the shortcuts and help me understand how impressive this actually is. Now, I've got to say, sitting in the Nissan Qashqai, there's so much to like about it. I mean, first of all, everything you touch, literally everything that you can touch, apart from the handle for the glove box, feels really nice. It feels premium. You've got Alcantara on the armrest, you've got Alcantara inside the seats. We have a nice large steering wheel that feels beautiful in your hands. Physical buttons all over the steering wheel, by the way. No haptic buttons around the dash. We've got a wireless phone charger here, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in this car, by the way. We've got split sections for the glove compartment. It's pretty good. We've got a tray here, then under that we've got the main glove box. We've got two USB-C chargers in the glove box compartment, and two USB-C chargers tucked behind here for the rear passengers. We've got a heads-up display, fully digital driver screen, nice 12.3-inch infotainment screen here, and yeah, physical buttons for climate control. We've got heated seats here. The front two seats also have a massage function, which does feel really nice. You can go through the screen and change the intensity and the overall feel of it, well, straight through the screen, so that's customizable. We get a glass roof as well on Techno Plus models. It's tinted. If the trim doesn't open up, it would be nice to get some airflow from the top as well, but it's got a great view out. It's literally the length of the cabin rather than some cars being just about half. The Techno Plus model also has Bose as standard, which sounds fantastic. This is a really nice place to sit. I'm pleasantly surprised. The only piano black style glossy plastics we have are around the climate control bits. But I mean, realistically, you're not going to touch, you'll touch the climate control buttons. And from where I can sit and with the sun coming in, I can't see any marks or fingerprints on it. So I think that's probably going to be fine. The Alcantara central console, and then a nice kind of textured fake wood effect here, and finally two cup holders for me and my friend, which I'm still looking to find. Please send applications to GenuinelyLAS.co.uk. Just setting off from Fish Brothers Nissan now, and pretty immediately, first of all, the steering is really nice and light, and here we go. I've got to say, it feels quite surreal to be in here and being in a car that's got a petrol motor. It's got a fuel tank. It should in theory be like a normal hybrid car, like we're so used to, what we've become quite accustomed to, but you put your foot down, you get immediate electric power response because of the electric motor. It feels so surreal, it's so quiet in here. I was very lucky that I had Simon at Fish Brothers Nissan talk me through the different features, different displays of this car. And the one that really caught my eye was the energy flow display, which is center on your infotainment screen, the driver's infotainment screen. So what I really like about it is not only does it show you, like a normal hybrid, how the battery power goes from the battery to the wheels, or if the energy is going back to the battery if you're under regenerative braking, it also shows you how when the engine is working, when the engine is operating. So right now, I don't know if you can hear it, but I can just about hear the engine idling, which is helping to charge up the battery and also provide energy to the electric motor. Now what's really interesting is seeing this kind of in play on the screen and seeing if you can hear the differences and hear when the engine's in motion, because on the display itself it actually shows the engine heating up and going orange, so you know when it's in operation, which is a really cool touch. But just around town so far, it's just been so nice to drive. I think it's a bit of a revelation really, being in essentially an electric powered car and seeing 308 miles of range and seeing that figure actually stay consistent and not fluctuate massively like you might get in a battery electric car if you're driving in a variety of different ways. What I also love is the integration of a Google operating system for the infotainment. Now, to me, I think this is well overdue for most of the large manufacturers. I know Polestar obviously have their Google derived infotainment system. Essentially, it means that you get Google Maps straight on to your to the screen. You use Google Maps rather than like a Nissan style sat nav, and it also means that the heads-up display in front of me is projecting from Google Maps. Now, I mean, if you're like me, I use Google Maps pretty much religiously. So the fact that it's integrated and not burning my phone battery whilst I'm driving is such a win. And on that, it means that my phone can actually just be sat on the wireless charging pad, charging away. Because not only do you get Google Maps, you also get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This really is a tech-focused haven, it feels like, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And just the smoothness of the ride. It's so nice. It's such a pleasant place to be. So in the UK, we get two different powertrains for the Nissan Qashqai. You either have the E-hybrid powertrain or a hybrid set, like a normal mild hybrid setup. And on the face of it, and from being in the driving seat now, I think the E-Power version makes the most sense from the jump. Firstly, you've got all the benefits of E-Power that I've mentioned, and it should also be noted that E-Power as a powertrain is available across the whole range. It's not just limited to the top spec models, which I think is a great way to get people trying it out and testing it out and keeping people's budgets. But it's also quite a bit faster. So the normal mild hybrid setup on the Qashqai, 0 to 60, we're talking over 10 seconds. Horsepower, I think it's about 140. The E-Powertrain, 0 to 60 in 7.9 seconds and 190 horsepower to the front wheels. And now, that's pretty rapid. It's probably as fast as you're going to need in a Qashqai. I can't imagine anyone wanting to go that much faster. And you also get 3 different driving modes. You get Eco, Normal, and a Sport, which we'll try a little bit later on. But the normal from the jump has been really smooth. Really smooth. As you can tell, there's quite a lot to like about the E-Powertrain. But one of the things I do have, well, I have been really enjoying, is the one pedal driving. So it works as it would in any normal electric car, using the brakes on the battery regen to slow the car down, never having to use a brake. Win, 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 win. So interestingly, in the Qashqai, the regenerative braking doesn't take you to a dead stop. It'll tail off at 8 miles an hour and you'll just coast along as if you're in like a normal auto crawling mode. What I love about the Qashqai version is, alongside the battery regen and the slowing down effect, it's hard to tell what the lights are doing at the back of the car, because in your mind you might have your foot still on the accelerator, but the car could be braking for you and the brake lights could be showing. Luckily enough, Nissan has solved that issue for you in the Qashqai. So if you go through settings, you can actually add a small icon of the Qashqai to the dash. So when you take your foot off the accelerator to any real degree, it will show you if the brake lights are showing. It's actually quite beneficial to know what other people are seeing behind you, because in your mind you might be driving really smoothly and others could think you're coming to quite an abrupt stop. So we'll give Sport a try now, just in time for Swindon's hill climb. When you put it into Sport, the dials go red. You feel the steering weights up a little bit, and the engine the throttle response is a little bit sharper as well. It still uses the same. Let's go. I can hear the engine idling a bit more actively now as I'm climbing up here. There isn't actually that much roll either, and the steering you feel relatively connected to the road. It does feel like the steering is still quite light at times, and when I'm putting in steering input, that I need a little bit more than I expected. But on the whole, I don't know how many people are going to do the Swindon hill climb or any other hill climb in a Nissan Qashqai, but it feels good, it feels responsive. Obviously not the fastest, but 7.9 to 60 of the electric motor delivering the power is instant, and it feels relatively on it. So I call that a pass for the Nissan Qashqai. The Swindon hill climb once again, providing a perfect test bed for the family vehicle performance. I'm picking up the speed a bit on country roads, and it's a really comfortable ride. You do have some wind noise and obviously tyre noise, but as the Techno Plus, comes on standard with 20-inch alloys, it does well as a comfortable cruiser. And that is also helped by the fact that this car the E-Power comes on Michelin Primacy 4 tyres, which are, one, improve the comfort, and two, are used to improve the efficiency of EV models, which this kind of technically is. They've also got a few very well-known safety features. I mean, in this, one thing that's actually quite interesting is, a quick side note, is that the Qashqai has, as all new cars do now, speed silent recognition. But instead of constantly bonging at you when you're going like a mile, 2 miles an hour over the speed limit, the Qashqai will flash up, it will say speed warning alert, press, and all you have to do is press OK, clears the alert, stops the bonging, that's the end of it, until you go to the next speed, until it crosses into a different speed zone. Now that's just a small feature, but it feels well thought out. Somebody has driven a Lexus RZ and said to the Nissan safety features department, please make sure you can turn off the bonging as soon as possible. We've also got lane departure assist, and what I really like is, if the system doesn't know or is unsure, it won't engage. And some systems I've experienced, even if you feel like even if the system's a little bit unsure, it will pull you back, which is a pretty grim feeling to have as a driver, not knowing if the car's going to yank you back into the lane. It also flashes up on the heads-up display, and it feels relatively gentle as it pulls you back. And it does also beep at you, because if it didn't beep at you, what kind of safety feature would it be? I think it's important to talk a little bit about price, because yes, you can get the E-Power engine across the range, the different trim levels, but the cheapest option is £4,000 more than the cheapest mild hybrid. You can only get the Qashqai as a mild hybrid or in E-Power. But I don't think that should put people off, because when you look at who could buy this, I think the range of people that could end up buying an E-Power car is significant. And you might not believe the hype, but after speaking to Simon and Nissan Fish Brothers, he was telling me that 100,000 cars powered by the E-Power system were sold in the first 12 months. That's pretty insane when you think about it. And for that reason, I do think it appeals to quite a significant market, and quite an important market as well, because I think the key customers are the people who've either done EV and like EV but don't like the hassle of charging and stuff, or things like that, or people who want to dip their feet into an EV driving experience Or maybe it's just people who want more economical petrol driving, because the E-Power model gets 10 miles per gallon more than the hybrid model at 54.1 miles per gallon, around that on average. And that's pretty special. And apparently, I'm not 100% sure how this is possible, but the E-Power model supposedly weighs up to, well, almost 300 kilos less than the mild hybrid model. So for that reason, I think this could really do well, especially in the UK, where EVs and hybrids are, you know, being really heavily pushed. If you don't want a hybrid, you don't want the CVT gearbox and, you know, the cutting in and out of the petrol engine driving the wheels, electric petrol, you don't really know what one's doing what and when. This is such a great solution to that kind of mess of a situation. I know I'm speaking a lot about it, I'm really singing its praises, but I think it's a really cool idea. And I remember reading up about it initially when I was kind of researching the Qashqai before I drove it, and I sat up and thought, this is really cool. I thought it would just be another hybrid system, but so much, you could tell there's clever engineering has gone into this to make an actual viable alternative to a hybrid car. So I can only imagine how many more are going to be sold 2024 and beyond. And for those who want something bigger than a Qashqai, the X-Trail also has the same E-Power powertrain. It's a bit of a mouthful, but I think my conclusion is simple. Even if you're not 100% set on this, give it a go. Give it a go. Even try it in an X-Trail or try it in a Qashqai. I'm really impressed with this. It's everything you could want from a normal Qashqai, a normal like family SUV crossover, with a powertrain that's actually innovative and smart, and it feels really well thought out. I'm a big fan of this thing. I think living with it day to day for people without a home charger would be so easy. It's just like having a petrol car, just with an EV twist. And lastly, thank you again to Fish Brothers Nissan for giving me the opportunity to spend a day of this. I really do think it's kind of a step into a whole new world, a new generation of thinking about EVs and hybrids, and trying to minimize the compromise of owning a different powertrain that isn't just a combustion engine. So thank you again. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Do you like the idea of E-Power? What are your thoughts? Would you give it a go? Would you have one? Please do like and subscribe if you've been liking. Do share it with anyone who might be keen to check out the E-Power powertrain. And let me know in the comments if you'd ever give it a go. If you like the idea of it, if you have one, let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.